Hi everyone, I'm doing Messy May. So if you've missed day one, which was new, that was the actual journal that I made. That's on the playlist. So go look up Messy May on my channel and you'll see it. I'm just going to flick you through the first 10 days. So let's get started with day two, which is expand. So I decided to make like a double tag, which would expand out of an old book page, which I just took out of an old book. I'd already painted it before for another project, so that was kind of good. Then I thought this nice bright yellow would be really awesome to use as the background because it kind of matches what's already on the tag, and I'm absolutely loving these new Jo Sonja paints. So that's what I'm using here, is just doing a background in a really bright yellow. The colour is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. I've still got paint left on the brush, so I decided just to make some marks on the next page, which you probably won't end up seeing, I'm not sure yet. So yeah, you may as well use up your paint, and then you've got backgrounds for your next page. I'm actually going to mark each page with the number, just so that when I flick back through and do a flick through at the end, I know what I'm talking about. I often have to refer to another list. So yep, here I am. I'm actually going to put a button on, which I've made just out of sticking a whole load of circles together, and do a tie. So I'm just going to do some inking around the edge and get that stuck on the page. Meanwhile, the paint's drying in the background. Just grab an awl just so that I can make a mark of where I want it to go through, and then I'm just going to use a split pen to put it all together. Okay, next I just need to get some string, which will come around from the back, and obviously tie it up so it stays tied up. This bit of string has already got some paint on it and markings from before, and I think what I'll do is just put it on with a bit of washi tape. Doesn't need much because I'm actually going to glue it down onto the page. I'm starting to fiddle around here now with a few different backgrounds or stuff that I can put down behind this double tag. So I get a few things out and just start messing around. You'll see stuff over to the left too that I've started to cut out. Wasn't right. So yeah, I really like this. This is something that I made for another project. So it was just making marks on paper, but the paper's really cool. It's out of a photo album, and so it's sort of fine. You can kind of see through it. And then I thought what I would do is just rip out those parts that haven't got any paint on them, and then the yellow paint from the page will actually show through. So that's what I do. All right, let's get my tag back, get it on the page. You can see all the colours now start to match in, which is really nice. Yeah, I'm just trying to decide where I'm going to put it, whether or not I'm going to add anything else on the back, but I don't end up doing that. And this is a handmade stencil. I just made it myself by sticking 3 pieces of book pages together. So I decided just to use my Posca pen and just do the outline of the flower and just add a little bit of interest to that bottom right of the page. And just to tie it all in now, I've decided I'm going to use a little bit more of the yellow paint and just come in back over the top of that flower, just in bits, just to tie it in, and it'll end up sort of a bit grungy looking. Now I'm just taking my Posca pen again, and I just want to make some marks. So just going over where I want to, make some more marks and just add a little bit of interest, I guess, to the tag. I've added some to the inside as well. So now I've just got to stick it down where I want it and finish up. You'll see now that I've added sort of black paint. I've gone over with the Posca pen and just done some more markings. So I'm just kind of finishing off the page now until I think I've done enough. And there we are. Day 2 done and dusted. Happy with how that turned out. Let's get started on day 3 now. And so day 3 is called Brain Dump. And I saw this image in a book and I thought, yeah, that would be great. Because she kind of looks like she might be having a brain dump. So I thought that would be great as a background. So I'm just going to make it fit the page. And then I had an idea to do some kind of a balloon with lots and lots of words that you might have in your head in it. So there's my number 3 ready to go down. So I'm just going to ink that down in the corner before I get started. And what I did was I just hopped on over to Canva because I use that quite a bit. And I just made, like I said, a balloon. And I just filled it with lots of words that I thought would maybe cause anxiety or that some of us have in our heads. Yeah, there's a few of them there. So I just cut them out and then made it fit. I mess around with this balloon bit for a bit because I just can't get it to fit or sit how I like it, so I end up chopping it off. But that's okay. That's junk journaling. That's what we do, hey? Make it fit. I'm just adding some pencil here. I wanted to sort of have a bit more of a drawn look. So yeah, I just went around some of the areas with pencil, added some stitching, and that's basically it. All done. Day 3. Okay, day 4 is joy. That's the prompt for today. And when I saw this paint, oh man, it's so beautiful. Look at it. Deep Magenta by Liquitex. Well, that brings me great joy. So I thought, well, that's going to be what is the basis for my prompt today. So here we go. And then some of the pieces that I cut out before, you'll see them sitting on the edge on the left there. I'm going to try and use them on here. And I had the thought, because it's like a magenta colour and it's so bright, that I would add flowers, maybe like a posy. So I got out some stickers, etc. Couldn't decide what to do. And then I found a pre-made like card that I'd made out of an old book page. So I end up using that. And what I'm trying to do is only stick the very edge of the bow so that I can use it as a belly band. And here's the pre-made card. Looks really cute. It's got florally paper. It's got a sticker already on it. And of course a stamp. So I'm thinking that will look quite nice, just tucked into the belly band. I'm thinking it probably still needs a little something on the tops of the pages or the corners. So I'm just going to use another Posca pen and just do a few little markings just to make it a little bit more interesting. And that's it. Number 4 is done. I'm really loving that magenta colour. Beautiful, you should give it a try. Okay, day 5 is Elevate. So I've got this gorgeous Jo Sonja Rich Gold. And I'm going for a totally different look today. So let's get started and see what I get up to. So I made these digitals just on Canva and I thought they would look really nice. I really love this yoga lady, so I'm going to include her. And then I just made some other markings. So I'm just going to cut it all out and stick it on random and see what I end up with. I love playing with that gold paint. Just added some finishing touches with the Posca pen and that's it all done. Elevate. All right, now we're on to day 6, which is patchwork. So I grabbed a whole load of like old tags and things and thought that I would make some kind of patchwork out of those. So I had a little bit of a fiddle around with it and started sticking stuff down. So let's see what I do here. So I keep fiddling around with bits until I get it sort of like a patchwork, and then I get this really cool washi tape and just add it in so that it ends up looking like a patchwork. I was really happy with it actually. And then because it's day 6, I circled the 6. Okay, day 7 is garner. I had to look up the word to be truthful, but it means like to collect. So here I go. I'm going to make a collection of little houses that I found in a Daphne's diary. So let's see what I get up to here. All right, so that's the kind of neutral background that I wanted. And then I've just fussy cut out these little houses. They're so sweet. Look at them. Yeah, really love them. So I'm going to put those on the page. And then I want to make it sort of like a painting. So I think I'm going to use some gesso and stuff. So let's see how I do that. Okay, I just want to add a little bit of depth now to the whole thing. Make it sort of look more like a painting than just flat on the page. So I'm going to do a bit of gesso and go around, just keep blending it and blending it until I get it how I want it. So yeah, this process takes a little bit of time, so just bear with me and I'll speed it up for you. Right, I'm pretty happy with that now. Kind of got the look that I wanted, sort of a bit faded and more like it had been painted really. Alright, so now we're on to day 8, which is alchemy. So that's actually like a science thing where they try and turn one thing into something else. Yeah, that's what alchemy is. So I found this picture under alchemy and I thought it just sort of epitomised it, but I want to make it look sort of really old. So I'm going to do that with some vintage wallpaper, which is what I'm pasting up now, and then I'm going to add the picture and add some gesso and paint effects and also some tea bags. So let's see what I get up to now. I just absolutely love the mottling on these tea bags. They're going to look perfect up the top here. I just want something extra up the top and probably a little bit down the bottom as well. Just to add a little something extra over the wallpaper, just here. So when I put it here, I think it's going to look really good. Yeah, I love it there. Just looks perfect. And the joy of tea bags is you can scrunch them up, move them around, tear off that little side strip, and they sort of disappear into what you've already got there, but just add a little something extra. So I really like using them. When I use tea bags, I try not to think or overthink the process because they do sort of disappear into the background, like I was saying. So when I'm putting them onto, say, a collage like I'm doing now, I don't think too much about it because if it doesn't work out, you can just go over the top of them. Tea bags are, they're paper thin. They're excellent to work with. So just pop them down, see how it looks, and then if you don't like it, you can always just paint over the top, gesso, do what you like really. But I'm really liking how they turn out. Now with this one, I want to do a number. So I was thinking what I would do is do a stencil on top of the tea bag, and I want it to be sort of really grungy and to sort of disappear into the background, maybe over there on the left. So obviously I'm going to use number 8 because it's day 8 of Messy May. So let's see what I do with this now. Right, you'll see now when I put this down how the 8 is sort of out and in front of your face now, but the colours will all sort of meld in and it just ends up looking like a grungy 8 sitting up there on the top left. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it dries as well. It looks really nice. And there you have it. So it'll continue to dry now. I'm just going to get the hot air gun out and give it a blast. And there you've got sort of the little yellowy tinges. The 8 is sort of grungy there. But I really love the way that's turned out. So that's day 8, done and dusted for Messy May. Okay, day 9 is layers. So I'm going to wet the page, then I'm going to do an acrylic white base, just to give me something to work with. And then I'm going to use a piece of the piano roll right down the middle of the page. And this napkin I want to scrunch up. I also want to use the gold doily. So to start with though, I'm going to use white acrylic and just coat the whole page, just so that it gives me a base to work with. And I want to kind of make it not flat, you know, because we're working on layers. So yeah, I want to just sort of leave the paint a little bit thick as well to start with, so that when I stick the paper and doilies and etc. over the top, it's sort of got a bumpy surface. So that's what I'm doing now. I just wanted to rough up this doily a bit and put a bit of paint on it, make it a bit rougher looking. And what I didn't realise was that there's actually 2 doilies there. So you'll see in a minute I pull them apart and I'm like, oh dear, because I've got the glue on the bottom one and the paint on the top one, but I kind of improvise. Alright, there you go. You can see the paint has dried and it's not completely flat. So that's going to give me a nice sort of rough surface to start working on. And then I'm going to start layering it up. So I want to start using this serviette, which is paper thin. It's just the one layer of the serviettes. You know how you pull them apart? This is just the top part. And then I've got the piece of piano roll, which I think I'm going to kind of ribbon down the page so it sits up and is not flat. Here's where I find out that this serviette is actually 2 serviettes. So yeah, I end up with glue on the bottom piece and the paint on the top. Alright, it's time to add the final layer, which will be the napkin. So you just want plenty of Mod Podge on, or matte medium, and that helps you to move the napkin around really easily. And you have to be really super careful because it will rip like really easy. So you watch now, I'm going to apply it, and you just have to be super careful and move it maybe with the wet brush rather than your fingers, because otherwise it sticks to your fingers and ends up in a bit of a mess. So I do this bit first, just quickly with my fingers, and then I'll go back to actually using a brush. And you see here right on the edge, don't be afraid to like rip off that little bird there. He's just going to have to go because there's just no room on the page for you to be able to see him anyway. So you just carefully rip it away, and then you just end up seeing more of the doily underneath. So you just have to be really careful. See how that top bit starts to rip? You just have to move it into place so you can still see the other bird up there. So yeah, just keep gently moving it around, and eventually it sits where you want it to. And of course I need a number 9 for today, so I just grabbed something out of an old book, and I'm just going to stick that in the top right hand corner and finish off the daily challenge for today. Alright, so I've added a little bit of ink. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more of the paint that I originally used on the base, just to tie it all in and fade the edges a little bit, and we're done. Alright, so I'm just going to bring you up closer, and now I've dried it off with the heat gun. You can see all of that beautiful doily is coming right through the napkin. So the napkin becomes almost transparent, but the little birds sit to the front, so you can see all the different layers. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. It's lovely. All right, let's move to day 10. Day 10, the prompt is time, and I don't know why, but as soon as I saw the prompt, I thought of the numbers 1111, like for Armistice Day. So I fished out some stuff to do with World War II, and I thought I'd make that the base of my page today. I absolutely love how this paper turned out. It's tea-dyed, and it's just from a normal notebook, but it's going to look perfect as the base for this page. So I'm going to put that underneath all of the items that come out of the book to do with the war. Alright, so I went and made like it's a vintage look alarm clock, I think it is, but it had 1111 on it in digital numbers. So I thought that was quite cool. So I'm just cutting that out, and I'm going to age that a little bit and stick that over the top of the collage. Still looks a little bare, so I'm just going to grab some cheesecloth, and I'm just going to cut sort of a very fine piece of that and see what that looks like between the digital that I made and the book pages that I originally put on. Okay, if you lasted this long, well done. So that's the first 10 days, all done and dusted of Messy May. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.